Hello and welcome into Wednesday night at Frickers. It's the Eagle 99 High School Football Coaches Show live from the Fremont Frickers, where it is $9.99 steak night. Remember, you can get a steak, dinner roll, side salad, and drink all for $9.99, and kids eat free. Thank you to Frickers again for having us this week, and we got an action-packed slate for you tonight. Coming up in a couple minutes, I'm going to talk with Ryan Lozier from Lakota. Lakota is 3-0, looking to improve to 4-0 this season, but they have to go through the Gibsonburg Golden Bears. And speaking of Gibsonburg, it is Gibsonburg night. Coach Shane Dyer and a few players will join me right after the Ryan Lozier interview. And then after that, we have Ryan Carter from Clyde, and of course, rounding things out, Chad Long from Ross. My name is Nick Roth. I thank you for joining me tonight on WFROradio.com, on Eagle 99 on the radio, or on YouTube. Again, we are live on YouTube. To get to our YouTube live stream, all you got to do is go to YouTube, search Eagle 99 WFRO, and it'll pop right up. If you're not as inclined to do that, you can always go to Facebook and click on the link. We have a post from earlier today that says, hey, watch our YouTube live stream here. Click on that. It'll take you right over to the page. Well, this week we actually have a pretty action-packed schedule here on the BAS Sports Network. I want to take you through a couple of those things before we jump in to our high school football coaches show tonight. Of course, tomorrow on 92 on the Wolf, our sister station, we have the Ryan Day Show from 7 to 8 p.m. Ryan Day will talk about that monster win over Grambling State, which a lot of people are saying it wasn't a real game, and I can see why. 7 touchdowns scored, 0 given up. See what Ryan Day has to say about that and their upcoming opponent this weekend. And on Friday, high school football is back on the Eagle 99 right here. We'll have Whitmer at Ross, 6:30 pregame, 7 o'clock kickoff, a heavyweight bout there. Man, Ross isn't getting any weeks off so far this season. 4 really tough opponents, and they're able to win 2 out of the 3 so far. That's pretty tough. On 92 Under the Wolf, our sister station, Kyle Knight and I will be at Bellevue High School as Bellevue takes on the Norwalk Truckers, 6:30 pregame, 7 o'clock kickoff for that. Then on Saturday on Eagle 99, we actually have a showcase tour stop. We are going to be at Connor Park in Fremont from 8 to 10 a.m. It's for the Ovarian Cancer Connection fundraiser. John Kearns will take you there and give you all the updates and happenings from Connor Park here in Fremont. But we also have college football on Saturday. It wouldn't be a fall Saturday without college football. We have Liberty at Bowling Green, 4 o'clock pregame, 5 o'clock kickoff right here on Eagle 99. And then on 92 on the Wolf, of course, we have the Ohio State Buckeyes take on their little brother, the Ohio Bobcats. 5:30 pregame for that, 7 o'clock kickoff that night. Next Monday, our BGSU Falcons Nest Radio Coaches Show is live from 6 to 7 p.m. Next Wednesday, Kyle Knight will be here at Frickers at 7 p.m. to take you through that slate. But that is our week coming up on the BAS Sports Network. We hope you're able to tune in and listen to what we have for you. There's plenty of good stuff to listen to. And as I said, coming up next after the break, we'll be talking with Ryan Lozier from Lakota, talking about how his Raiders look to improve to 4-0 on the almost halfway through high school football season. It's crazy. It just started, and we're on week 4 already, folks. That is absolutely insane. So we'll talk with Ryan Lozier coming up. You're listening to Eagle 99 WFRO and the Eagle 99 High School Football Coaches Show. Keep it right here. Fremont. Thank you for Frickers for letting us host yet again. Remember, it's $9.99 steak night tonight. Get yourself a steak, dinner roll, side salad, and drink all for $9.99. And kids always eat free. Joining me now is Ryan Lozier, head coach of Lakota. Ryan, thanks so much for being here today. Before we get started, I want to clarify. I said before we went to break that you got Gibsonburg coming up this week. I misspoke. I misread the schedule here. You got Woodmore coming up this week. Still a pretty tough test. But before we get into that, let's get into these past few weeks. You guys have been, riding a hot streak, 3-0, and hoping to look to go 4-0 this week. Tell me, what was the biggest key to your success against Toledo Christian last week?
I think just, doing what we do and continue getting better on our end. I think with playing them, you were so question marks on what they do because they came from 8-man. You knew they were really good in 8-man, and then so you weren't really too sure what to expect. And I know a lot of guys, you read the paper or something like that, and it's no, wrongdoing of anybody writing or anything like that, but nobody really knows about them. So you look, they're 0-2. They got hammered by two pretty good football teams week 1 and 2.
Yeah.
They were much better than what people are giving them credit for, and I actually look to see them win some games down the stretch. I really do. So we knew that they had some athletes we had to contain. I thought our kids did a pretty good job.
Well, it's always a tough test coming back from 8-man football, so to get any wins after coming back from that would be tough.
Oh,
so
100%.
good luck to Toledo Christian in that effort. But let's talk a little bit about your defense this season. Been very, very good so far, giving up a total of 25 points all year. How important to you and how awesome has that been so far this season?
It's a huge boost to our offense, and you got to give credit to we have two DCs, they're co-DCs. Dave Lozier, which is my dad, he's doing a great job, and then Glenn Owens. I can't say enough about him. He's helped us on both sides of the ball. He has a vital role in our program on both sides, and between those two, Jason Wagner, those guys really got our kids playing fast and they know what they're doing on defense, and that helps. And then, when your offense is scoring, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 touchdowns a game, it always, complements that. So
yeah, let's talk about that. Your offense has scored, now I think my math is correct on this, about 105 points so far this season, as opposed to your defense only giving up 25. So these guys, they're very talented. You guys can score so far with relative ease. Let's talk about your quarterback, Jalen Wagner. He's been great this season, over 300 yards passing, 3 touchdowns. How great has he been so far this year, and how much of a leader is he on the field?
Oh, he's doing everything we ask of him. Last year we were a little bit more spread out just because I felt that's what we need to be, and this year we've kind of got more, in the box, tight wing stuff, and he's taken it head on and just attacked it. And for him to be another threat, not only in the air but on the ground, it just makes our offense that much more difficult to stop.
Yeah, on the ground, he is also a threat. I should mention, I'm glad you mentioned that. He's got 18 rushes for 214 yards this season, but he is not your leading rusher. The guy that I want to talk about tonight, Nate Grigson. 35 carries so far this season, 5 touchdowns, over 350 yards. Sounds like a workhorse for your team. What is he doing to lead this team, and how pleased are you with his performance?
Well, I encourage people to go and watch Nate Grigson run the football. He's just fun. He gets the football. He's 100 mile an hour, and he's a physical bruiser, but he has speed too. So he makes it really hard to kind of play against. So when he's doing that and his ability with running the football, again, it makes our offense that much more difficult to handle. And then you got AJ Goshi, who we can spur in there for Nate, and with those stats, those are pretty good stats through 3 weeks. And the best part about it is we haven't killed him. He's only what's he averaging carry wise?
Let's see.
12, 13 maybe?
It looks like he's averaging 10 yards a carry.
Or 35 divided by 3. I'm not good at math. It's like 12. Right around that area. So
it says here 10.1, but I don't know.
Oh, okay.
Could
Wait.
be wrong.
Those yards or carries?
Yards per attempt. 10.1.
Okay, so he's no, I meant like carries a game.
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
So,
sorry about that.
No, that's good. But anyway, we haven't killed him, in the first 3 weeks. So he's getting these on not a shorthanded amount of carries, but it just shows his athletic ability. And you know what? I'd be wrong if I don't mention our guys up front.
Oh, yeah.
Our guys up front have been phenomenal. Again, I go back to Glenn Owens, who is in charge of our run game, and Joe Wyatt, who's in charge of our run game. And they have our guys playing at such a good level up front that it's making our backs, that much better. So
Well, you talk about Joe Wyant, and if you want to have a good, well-developed offensive line, that's the guy that you call. He was at Gibsonburg for many, many years, running that wing T. And I say the line is won and lost up front every single game, and it's nice to have a coach that shouts out the offensive line and defensively too. I'm sure they're doing great as well. Grigson, you get lost in the numbers because not only is he your leading rusher, he's your second leading tackler on the team. He's a bruiser. He goes out there. He's got 34 tackles on the season. The only person in front of him is Gabe Brubaker with 38. But we're talking with head coach Ryan Lozier of the Lakota Raiders about his recent success in these past few weeks. He's attributed his offense and defense. He's given them their flowers. And now let's talk about your upcoming opponent, those Woodmore Wildcats. What do you think you have to do to get a win in Week 4?
We've got to stop the run. It's our first. I'm not going to call it test because I do think that the first 3 teams we played aren't awful teams that people make them be sometimes. But they're good up front. They're strong. They're physical. They're fast. They got the running back at is one of the best kids in our league, if not in our area, at running back. So we got to be ready to roll and ready to play physical football for 4 quarters. And same thing on offense. We're going to try and do the same thing we've been doing. And again, it's going to be a 4-quarter battle for sure.
Well, we're getting to that part of the season where someone's going to have a loss in their column, and so far this year, you nor Woodmore have had a loss. And I have a question for you here is, on defense to stop the run, what are you guys going to put in different packages, or are you just going to play Lakota football and see if your line can hold up and get penetration and stop the run?
We're doing some different things to get ready to roll. We got our game plan in that's going to be solid to, not only stop the run, but we got to be ready for the pass. They do have a kid that can throw it, and they got some receivers that can play. So we got a good game plan in. Our defense, we had a great defense practice tonight. So no matter what you do, changing, whether we change stuff or not this Friday, we've been running. At the end of the day, you just got to go play, like you said, Lakota football, fly around, no matter where you're supposed to be, know where you're supposed to be, and just play physical football.
Talking with head coach Ryan Lozier from Lakota. Coach, we're almost through midseason, which is crazy to say because we just started, but it's Week 4 already. How much improvement have you seen from Week 1 to Week 4 in not only the play, but maybe the level-headedness and maturity of your upperclassmen and even the development of your younger classmen on the field?
I think I've seen it all year, really, because I say that because last year, you look back, we had, 9 out of our 11 guys starting on both sides of the ball were either sophomores, or mostly were sophomores and a few juniors. So I have all these guys back from last year. So I've looked for that to see if, cause that's one of the things that you have to look for. You get all those kids back, you got to think that they're going to be bigger, faster, stronger, more mature. And we have from the get-go. Guys know what it's like to be under the lights, and now they're playing in meaningful football games. That's what I keep preaching to them. That's why we worked so hard for about 2 years now to get to Friday night, and you're playing in meaningful, important football games. So the level of intensity has to go up, and they're getting the hang of that. But the maturity and doing things the right way has grown tremendously.
Again, talking with head coach Ryan Lozier of the Lakota Raiders. Thank you so much for joining me this evening, Coach.
Yeah.
And just one last question for you. These seniors that are in the locker room, how great have they been all through summer camp and up until now, really leading the young guys out on the field?
Oh, they've been good. They've been at everything, whether it's lifting, conditioning, it doesn't matter. And I think they've got that feeling of winning, which we've had a little bit of success in 3 years. This is my 5th year there, so my first year they were 8th graders. But nonetheless, we've had a couple rough years and a couple good years with them. So, but now that they're finally feeling that winning feeling on Friday nights, and we're at where we're at, I think they just want to win.
Yeah.
I really do believe that. And we've been preaching that, what are you willing to do to win? What are you willing to give up to win? Because at the end of the day, if I have 6 touchdown passes and I lose, how much fun is that?
Exactly.
It's cool because I get my name in the paper,
Yeah.
but your team didn't win on Friday night,
Yeah.
So.
And winning, as I'm sure they're finding out and you're finding out, well, you knew all about it at Clyde winning the state championship, but winning is addicting.
Oh.
You get a taste of it and you're hooked. So so these kids are getting that bug, getting that itch. How how has that brought them together as a team? You know, you start winning, and all of a sudden, do you see better chemistry between the guys?
Yeah, winning makes everything easier.
Yeah.
You know, because it's a little more, not a little more. It's a lot more fun to go in on Saturday morning, and a lot more fun to start practicing the next week on Monday, when you just won on Friday night. You know.
Yeah.
I always say when you lose on Friday, it ruins your whole weekend. It really does.
It does.
And that's just the honest truth. And it doesn't ruin. You can't let it spill into next week. But Monday, it's a different feel. You know, because now you put yourself in a situation where you got to bounce back, and so that's a different animal that you got to attack. So we're just focusing 1 week at a time, and hoping to continue having those winning feelings on Friday nights. But we know we got a tough schedule here on out.
Again, head coach Ryan Lozier from the Lakota Raiders. Coach, one final question for you here tonight. You know, we talked about your past 3 weeks being a success. We talked about what you think you may need to do offensively and defensively, but let's talk about something that isn't talked about much anymore nowadays, especially in high school football. Let's talk about special teams. How have they been this year? Have they been sound? And, you know, what have they done to help maybe flip the field or make clutch kicks?
Yeah, you know, our first play opening night, week 1, we returned to kick 98 yards to start the game.
That's a good way to start.
That's a good way to start the year and start the season. You know, I remember calling my dad, and like I say, he's our DC on Friday about noon. I said, hey, when we win the toss, I'm going to take the ball. And he's more of a kind of conservative guy compared to me, where I'm more aggressive.
Yeah.
It's just, but so he usually talks me down off it, but I wasn't letting him this time. He's like, you better score. So anyway, we housed the kickoff, and then I go, did you like it? He goes, yep, good call. So, you know, and that just is, like you said, a credit to our special teams. You know, Coach Wagner does a great job with them. He has them ready to roll. And we preach, you know, like any good football team does, you got to be good in all 3 phases. If you're going to win big games, and you know, our PAT unit, I guess, is one that we've worked on. We've harped on them a little bit. We got to be better on because we've missed a few here early on, and those win and lose you games, you know, as you get into the stretch. So
yeah, we saw it on Sunday.
Guys, yeah, you did. The Browns. Don't get me going, man.
I know.
I'm living a heartbreak.
I know. I only wanted to mention them a little bit, but yeah, I mean, we saw it on Sunday.
So, but yeah, especially has been great. Our kids are battling, and we're looking forward to playing in a fun atmosphere Friday night.
Head coach from Lakota, Ryan Lozier, thank you so much for joining me here tonight. Stick around and stay tuned here to Eagle 99 WFRO. We're going to have more from Frickers coming up. Frickers on this Wednesday night. My name is Nick Roth. Thank you for joining me on Facebook. Well, on YouTube, I should say, but our link is posted on our Facebook and also, of course, on Eagle 99.1 FM and on WFROradio.com. We're also streaming on the Eagle 99 app. And we talked with head coach from Lakota, Ryan Lozier, but now it's Gibsonburg Golden Bear night, and it's time to talk some Golden Bear football. And joining me is Coach Shane Dyer. Shane, thank you so much for joining me here today. Let's talk about last week's win. What did you guys do correctly on the field, and what did you guys execute to get the win last Friday?
The first 2 weeks we got big wins, and then last week we struggled a little bit with Delta. They came at us pretty hard, and we got behind on downs, and they ended up taking advantage of us a little bit there.
My apologies on that, Coach.
Okay.
You know, I got you and Woodmore mixed up. This was the problem. I thought, for some reason, when I was looking over my stuff today, I thought I got you and Woodmore mixed up, and I thought you guys were playing Lakota this week, and I said it before Coach Lozier came on, and then he corrected me, and I'm all out of sorts. My apologies. So you couldn't get the win this past week, but you're playing a Delta team. Delta's always pretty tough.
Yes.
But your offense was able to move the ball and score some points. So are you happy with what you saw there?
We're getting there. We're getting better and better each week. We're learning the strengths of all the players and trying to figure out what we do best, and we're starting to get there.
Well, when you talk about the learning curve, that happens a lot in these first 3, 4, even 5 weeks of high school football. Tell me about the development of your players. I know it's tough with a new coach, probably installing some new stuff, but what have you seen from summer camps until now that make you feel good and make you feel like these kids are coming along pretty well?
I think they're starting to understand a little bit of how I call the plays and what I look for when I call them and what they need to do when they're out there and their responsibility as a player and as a team.
And when you talk about these kids and what they've been able to do, you know, I'm sure you have a lot that you're learning too coming into Gibsonburg. And so how have these kids, especially these seniors, helped you when it comes to leading the team on the field?
They're really good helping each other out on the field, especially at practice where if they're confused about an assignment or anything else, they're really good about helping each other fix whatever issue we have or even making adjustments on the field itself. So football-wise, they're pretty smart kids, and that helps.
Well, and that shows on the field as well. Like you said, you weren't able to beat Delta last week, but you were able to beat Ottawa Hills and Toledo Rogers so far this year by scores of 49-14 and 49-13, and helping lead you along the way. Your quarterback, Reese Walby, who's here tonight, we'll be talking with him shortly, but it looks like he's been more of a field general out there doing what he needs to do to win the game. How big has Reese been for you so far this season in leading his team?
He does a great job leading the offense. You know, he's capable of throwing the ball, running the ball, utilizing whatever weapons we have out there, and he's a good general to have out there on that field.
Well, you can't talk Gibsonburg offense without talking about the rushing game. Aiden Morant, Aiden Nims, both over 100 yards so far on the season, but Grant Smith is your workhorse. He's almost at 500 yards already, and he's got 7 touchdowns. What's it like to have a guy like that in your backfield that you know when you need a yard, 2, 3, even 4, that he can get it for you?
Well, all 3 of these guys have the ability to break one when they need to, so it's kind of great to have that in your arsenal. You know, it's just more like an inside-outside game. So that part's great having, Morant and Nims and Grant out there.
So my question is, and I apologize, I haven't been able to watch a Gibsonburg game yet this season. I've been on the road with 92 on the Wolf doing Clyde games and stuff. But are you still running that wing tee, or are you incorporating a little bit more passing?
We have a little version of the wing tee, but we're trying to incorporate a little passing when they give it to us. So
yeah,
if they want to put 8 or 9 in the box, then we have the capability that we can throw the ball.
Well, and you don't want to throw too much of these kids too quickly. You don't want to change everything up that they've been doing since 4th, 5th, 6th grade, and then they've been running the wing tee since then. But I ran the wing tee in high school. I love seeing it. I love that teams still do it. But let's talk defense now, Coach. Now, your defense looked solid through the first couple weeks, only give a couple scores. Struggled against Delta, but again, you're going to have that. But some leaders for your defense. Grant, again, on defense, is got 24.5 tackles on the year. But you've also got guys like Luke Foster, Chewy Rodriguez. We're going to talk with him as well, and even Aiden Centers, who's out there. They're getting tackles. How has your defense been holding up this season, do you think? And do you think there's room for improvement anywhere?
Well, there's always room for improvement. You know, we got to do assignment football, especially this week, like against Northwood. They're going to come at us pretty hard, and with that midline veer. So, you know, we've got to be disciplined and being able to stop the fullback up the middle and then be able to hit the off-tackle play as well.
Talking with head coach Shane Dyer of the Gibsonburg Golden Bears. It is Gibsonburg night here at Frickers in Fremont. $9.99 steak night as well. Get yourself a steak dinner roll, side salad, drink, all for $9.99. And kids always eat free. Coach, thank you so much for being with me here tonight. And let's talk about the next game. Your opponent coming up is Northwood, like you said. They're 2-1 as well. What do you guys, besides stopping that veer, what do you think you guys need to do offensively to execute and get the win here tonight?
I think we need to run the ball and be aggressive with that, control the line of scrimmage, and if we can do that, then we'll get ahead in the downs, and then it'll make it easier to call plays and also convert those third downs into first downs.
So what you're saying is really play Gibsonburg football out there and
Yep.
pound the rock and control the clock, right? That's kind of what
Right.
you guys do, and yeah, excited to see if you guys can do that on Friday night. Are you going to mix it up a little bit, maybe throw some pass plays in there, or is it going to be mainly ground and pound?
Like I said, if it's there, then that's what we're going to take advantage of.
Have they seen on film? Have you seen looks where their defense is giving you maybe a look you can go play action, throw it deep on them, or is it more we're probably going to run?
It's just a matter of if you call it at the right time.
Yeah.
You know, sometimes they're bump and run and they're right up on our guys, and there are other times that they're back in a more of a cover, 2 or 3 look.
Well, one thing I want to talk with you, Coach, is before we go to your players here, let's talk about the turnover differential. I see that you guys have been able to create some turnovers, a few interceptions on the year, a couple of forced fumbles as well. How happy are you with your defense in making the other team turn the ball over, and how are you at capitalizing on those quick turnarounds?
Our defense is hustling after the ball. I mean, they get after the ball. If there's a chance to strip it, we're going to try to strip it. And we got some defensive backs back there that sometimes they'll be able to be a ball hawk and be able to go get a ball when they need to. And so far, we've won the turnover battle 2 of the 3 games, but Delta, we just didn't have that happen that week. So,
and like I said, there's plenty of weeks where that happens, and those guys, they're 2 divisions ahead of you.
Yeah.
They're Division 5. But do you schedule those games on purpose so when you guys get into the playoffs, you have experience over tough competition?
well, playing a team like that helps because it gets you ready for the playoffs. I mean, the teams get better and better as you go farther and farther into the playoffs. Our league actually is pretty good in the river. I mean, if you look,
Yeah.
we're 20-7.
Yeah. And,
In the river. I mean, so that's points for the playoffs.
Well, now you might as well just call it the SBC.
Yeah.
There's going to be no river, lake, or bay. It's just going to be the river as the SBC. But, yeah, I mean, always a tough group of opponents once you get into divisional play. And you played a couple divisions up, and you played a good game. Your offense looked good, so that's got to be promising heading into the mid-season. And my last question for you, Coach Dyer, before we get to your players, I know I said that already once, but I sometimes I ramble. I apologize. But my very last question for you is, what do you want to see from now until, say, week 8 or 9? What's the one area you want to see develop from where it is right now?
I want to see relentless effort. I mean, that's what we're talking about most of the season is relentless effort. I want guys to fly into the ball on defense, and then on offense, I want them getting downfield, making blocks, and instead of a 10-yard play, break it for 30 or 40. So hopefully our effort improves each week, and then we get better and better and better at that.
Well, that's the one thing you can't coach is effort, and I'm sure none of the kids that you brought here tonight have any lack of effort
No, they don't.
on the field or on the practice field even. So speaking of your players, let's get into a couple of interviews here. We'll go one by one, guys. So who wants to go first?
Reese.
Reese Walby. He's coming up first. Reese is the starting quarterback for the Gibsonburg Golden Bears. Go ahead and put the headset on there, Reese. Reese, thanks for joining me here tonight. I promise it's easy. You just look into the camera and, talk with me, and you'll be absolutely fine. Reese, like I said, I talked to Coach about it a little bit. You're 10 to 24 on the year in the air. You got 218 yards and 3 passing touchdowns. But I feel as if you're more of a field general out there than a gunslinger, really. So what have you done, and what have your teammates helped you in this, in leading your team during the game?
Obviously, can't throw the ball if the receivers can't get open, right? So
Yeah.
they've been doing a pretty good job at getting open, and the line has been doing a pretty good job at giving me time to be able to throw the ball.
Well, Reese, I got to say, you are only a junior, but I remember your name from basketball, and I believe you started last year, correct, as
Yep.
well? Yeah, so you are, it says right here, I apologize, you are going to be a 3-year letterman now. You'll probably be a 4-year letterman next year. How has your experience as a freshman and a sophomore helped mold you into a better quarterback for your junior year?
It's helped a lot. I mean, last year I didn't play quarterback too much. I was mainly a running back last year, but just getting on the field and seeing how the game's played and knowing the plays over the last 3 years, obviously I've figured them out a lot better and know what I'm reading.
Again, talking with Reese Walby, the starting quarterback for the Gibsonburg Golden Bears. And I know I come from a Division VII school, small school, and we don't have the luxury of having a set offensive position and a set defensive position, one person for all of them. You got to play both ways.
Yeah.
So, and you've been able to make 18 tackles on the season. Are you concerned about maybe injury and going down when you're on defense, or do you not care once you're out there? You like to hit people?
I do like to hit
Yeah.
people. Yeah. Defense is probably my favorite.
It is?
Yeah.
Well, that's good to hear. That's a quarterback that won't back down. It's tough, likes to hit people. It's hard to bring that guy down. All right, Reese, thank you so much for joining me here tonight. I got one more question for you before you go. I know you're only a junior. Have you been thinking about maybe what you want to do after high school, or not really?
I mean, there has been some thought, but obviously I have a little more time, so I
Yeah.
haven't put too much into it.
You're leaning towards college or going to trades?
Probably going to college.
Going to college?
Yeah.
You have any idea where?
Probably Bowling Green.
Yes, that's the right answer. So good for you. Yeah. I'm a PG Falcon myself, Reese. Thank you so
Thank
much.
you.
Oh, real quick, if you want to shout anybody out, go ahead.
Shout out to my family.
All right. Shout out to Reese's family. That was Reese Walby, starting quarterback for the Gibsonburg Golden Bears. Coming up now is Chewy Rodriguez. That's right. I knew I recognized you from your picture last year during basketball. Chewy Rodriguez, thank you for joining me here tonight, Chewy. And Chewy, your big strength so far this season has been defense.
Oh, yeah.
Are you a headhunter? Are you a guy that likes to get out there and hit people?
Yeah. The last 3 years I've been playing free safety, but this year I'm more up on the line, so up there making more tackles, and yeah, I love it.
You like it better on the line than you did at free safety?
Oh,
It's a
yeah.
lot easier to get tackles
Yeah.
and TFLs that way, and I was on the line too, so I sympathize for you. Chewy, you are a senior on this team.
Yep.
And tell me, how far have the young guys come since summer camp? How much development have you seen in those guys?
It's been a lot, honestly. Since summer, in the summer, they were obviously still learning the playbook and everything, but they've come so far. Now they're more aggressive, even just watching the JV games and when they get into varsity. But, yeah.
So, you and these other seniors on the team, what have you guys really done to step up and be leaders? Because the coaches can't do it all themselves. What have you done in the locker room and in the off season to help mold these young guys?
Coach Dyer kind of helped with that too. So, in him being a new coach, we have a little brother thing. So we have a younger classman as
I
a
like
little
that.
brother. Yeah.
I like that.
Pick them up, bring their practices. But if they have any questions, we help them. Anyone. And in the locker room, we're trying to keep people locked in for practice, and yeah.
So who's your little brother this year?
His name's Elijah Bradbury. I think he came out this year, his first year. He's a sophomore, but.
Oh, okay. So it says freshman here on
he's
the
a freshman?
roster. Yeah,
Whoops, maybe I
number
got it
70,
wrong.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, no big brother would really be a big brother if he didn't know anything about his little brother.
Yeah.
My brother's going to college right now. I couldn't tell you what number he is for Heidelberg. So that's all right. So we're talking with Chewy Rodriguez here. We talked about his defense and what do you think you have to do on Friday night to get this win?
I think as a defense, we just gotta contain them. We can't let them get any big plays or can't let them throw anything over us. We just gotta be smart, locked in, and do our jobs.
Do a job. I always say do your 1/11th because that's all you can do, and hope the team steps up and helps you out. Thank you so much, Chewy. Really
Yep.
appreciate your time. Oh, and before I go, you're a senior. Do you have any thoughts on what you're doing for school next year? If you're going to school?
Yeah, I'd like to go to college. I'm not like undecided for what yet, but
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, are you going to try and play football in college?
I'd like to play baseball.
Baseball. You're a baseball
yeah,
guy.
Yeah.
You're a multiple sport athlete. I like to hear that.
Mhm.
So, do you know where you might want to go? Have you been looking, taking visits?
We've been looking, but yeah, nothing. for
Nothing
sure
serious yet?
Yeah.
All right, well, I wish you the best of luck in your
Thank you.
future, and if you want to shout anybody out, go ahead. Now's the time.
I shout out my dog Aiden Morant, my next door neighbor. He couldn't be here today, and I told him I'd shout him out. And my mom, dad, and sister. Love you guys.
All right, thank you so much, Chewy. Joining me here now is I didn't hear him. My bad. Aiden Nims. Sorry, I didn't hear you. My bad. Aiden Nims. Thank you so much for joining me here tonight. And Aiden, give me a second here. You are one of the leading rushers on this team. You're behind Grant Smith, and I believe that's the only person. Yeah, you are. You're the second leading rusher on this team. So I assume in the wing tee you got 3 backs,
Yes,
right?
sir.
So are you the lead blocker a lot?
It really depends on their defense and how they're lined up, but for the most part, yeah, we have a couple plays where I do go through the gap and block for Grant Smith. But
Well,
it
my
really
question
depends.
was, and I'm not trying to focus on Grant Smith here because we'll talk with him in a bit, but do you like being that guy that runs through the hole and gets to hit the first guy?
For sure, I definitely like going through the hole and just hitting the first person I see. It's definitely really fun.
Well, let's talk about your rushing attack. What can you say attributes your success on the ground this season?
I think my looking like my eyesight and just seeing where I can go and just running off my blocks or
So your vision.
yes, sir.
Well, that's a good thing to have. That you know is the sign of a good football IQ, and that's a great thing to have. A lot of coaches think that vision is a lot better to have than talent. And like I was talking earlier with Reese, you don't have the luxury of just being a running back. You're also on the defensive side of the ball. And tell me, you got about 9.5 tackles on the season so far. How do you like defense or offense better? And if the answer is defense, tell me why.
It really goes both ways.
Yeah.
I can find some joy in both sides of the ball. If I really had to pick, I'd say offense for sure.
Well, I expect a running back to say that because I'll tell you what, it's fun to make a tackle, it's fun to get your name called, but it's a lot more fun to score 6 points for your team. I bet you it feels a lot cooler than making a tackle. Talking with Aiden Nims from Gibsonburg Golden Bears. Have a game coming up this weekend against the Northwood. I don't know Northwood's mascot.
The
I'm sorry,
Rangers.
The Rangers?
Yes, sir.
Wow, that's unique. All right, the Northwood Rangers. What do you guys have to do to get a win at Northwood this week, do you think?
I think it's the same as any other week. We just got to play assignment football. Just know where your assignments are. Just get there and definitely don't take a play off. Don't take it for granted.
Yeah, absolutely. That's great advice to have. Don't take it for granted. Again, talking with Aiden Nims of the Gibsonburg Golden Bears. Just a final couple questions for you, Aiden. First of all, if you want to shout anybody out, you can go ahead and do that right now.
Oh, for sure. Shout out my dad, Seth Nims, one of the coaches.
I just want to make sure that we get that out of the way. I don't ever want to forget the shout-outs because the kids like that the most. So you are also a senior as well, and I asked Chewy about how the seniors led the team, but I also asked him how or what are you thinking about doing next year? Do you have any plans for next fall, or are you not thinking about that right now?
I'm not attending school, but I'm going to enlist in the United States Marine Corps.
Well, there's no nobler action than that, and we wish you the best of luck becoming a United States Marine. And until then, keep busting heads out there on the football field. Thank you so much,
Thank
Aiden.
you.
That was Aiden Nims of the Gibsonburg Golden Bears telling us all about their season so far and his impact. And now we're talking with Grant Smith. Grant, let's not sugarcoat it here, Grant. You are having a pretty good year so far. I see your arms
Yeah,
casted up there.
a broken hand.
You got a broken. Was that happened last game?
Our first scrimmage.
Oh, your first scrimmage.
Mm-hmm.
Well, you only need one hand to carry the ball, I guess. I got to tell you, because this is legal, and when I played football, I ran into it when I was on the line. Some kid had a cast. He was beating me in the helmet with it. Does it kind of help with stiff arms a little bit?
No, not
Not
at
at
all.
all?
No. I'd have to, like, reach across my body, and it's not.
Well, let's talk about your success on the ground this year. You know, obviously the Smith name is a pretty big name at Gibsonburg, but what do you attribute your success on the ground this year to so far?
Our O-line. We got all 5 guys are, like, all 3-year players for the O-line, and they're pretty well experienced in moving guys around, creating great holes.
So how nice is that you got these veterans out there creating these giant truck-sized holes for you? Does it make it a little easier to break open the big ones?
Oh, it makes it a lot easier. It's a lot nicer when you don't get touched going to the end zone.
That's exactly right. Well, despite the great offensive line, you are the back with the most success this season so far, almost 500 yards on the year. You got 60 rushing attempts, 438 yards, 7 touchdowns. Your average per game is 146 yards and 7 yards a carry. And, well, that's just downright impressive no matter who you play. And, again, talking with Grant Smith from Gibsonburg. But, Grant, am I correct in assuming that you are Connor's little brother?
Yep.
Right. And I'm sure you're sick of talking about Connor because everybody talks
Yeah.
about him. You know, he had a 3,000-yard season. You know, was it season he had a 3,000-yard season?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that's crazy. But how much of an advantage is that you got to learn from him every day, living with him and being his younger brother?
Yeah, like I watched him work out, and I still work out with him, and like he shows me what he does to train and like to read holes and all his different lifts.
Well, he holds a lot of records over there at Gibsonburg,
Yeah.
I'm sure. Are you hoping to break some of those before your career's done?
I'm just trying to win football games.
Well, that's a good answer. That's a great answer. And so far, you've been doing a pretty good job of that. Again, talking with Grant Smith of the Gibsonburg Golden Bears. Grant, you're just a junior, correct?
Mm-hmm.
And what have you been thinking about? Have you been thinking about college at all? Has Connor talked with you at all about, you know, what he's doing, or are you really focused on school and football right now?
I'm just focused on high school and
Yeah.
football and just enjoying it while I have it.
Yeah, I know I didn't think about college my junior year. Absolutely not. So there's nothing wrong with that. You got plenty of time to figure things out. Again, talking with Grant Smith. One final question well, it's not even a question, but if you want to shout somebody out, go ahead and do that right now.
I'll shout out the whole line. I got Hunter Wasserman, Hayden Brown, Jet Litton, Dash Sutter, and Zach Fruth.
Well, that's not a bad idea to shout out your O-line. Make sure that they get a few extra bodies moved around for you this Friday. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Grant, I really appreciate it. I'll shake you with the other hand. May I
Yeah.
make sure not to make that blunder. And appreciate it. Good luck on Friday.
Thank you.
All right, that was the Gibsonburg Golden Bears, head coach Shane Dyer, and players. And that was Grant putting down his headset. Apologize for the sound on your radio or on your live stream. The Gibsonburg Golden Bears take on the Rangers of Northwood this week. That game will be at 7 p.m., and that will be, I believe, a home game. No, it'll be at Northwood. So if you're a Golden Bear fan, go check that out. And I would like to thank head coach Shane Dyer and Chewy Rodriguez, Aiden Nims, Reese Walby, and Grant Smith for their time tonight. And coming back, we will talk some Clyde Flyer football here from Frickers. You're listening to the High School Football Eagle 99 Coaches Show live from the Fremont Frickers. We'll be right back. Steak night here. You get a steak dinner, roll, side salad, and drink, all for $9.99. And kids always eat free. Our thanks to Frickers. Join me now. We're talking Clyde Flyer football with head coach Ryan Carter. Coach, thank you so much for being with me here tonight. And, well, let's talk about last week. Kyle and I were there at the game, and it was against the Ashland Arrows. And to be honest, you look at it on paper, the Arrows looked like they were going to run up and down the field. But in the first half, your offense was able to keep up with them. It was a 21-21 tie at halftime. Tell me about what you guys did right in the first half.
You know, I felt like, honestly, we played well the whole game. Even in the second half, we didn't score, and they scored twice on us, but we had opportunities. We were in the red zone 3 times. Just a multitude of different things, of errors and bad play on our part, good play on their part. And just some bad breaks. You know, we have a 4th down, and our quarterback's got to come out for a play where, you know, it's just tough situations, and that's what happens when you're down a little bit and you need some breaks to go your way, and we just didn't get those. But honestly, I was happy with the way the kids responded. We've had a tough road to start this season off, but our kids are. You know, I was telling my son tonight when we were sitting there eating, our kids have been very resilient. They have came every day to work. They've did everything we've asked them to do, and we're gaining on it. I don't know when it's going to translate into a win or a positive outcome for us, but we are gaining on it.
Well, let's talk about the kids. And you've said they've been so resilient and so willing to come to work still, and even after an 0-3 start, and those can be tough, and sometimes you get kids that are dejected, but from the way you're talking about it, you're not seeing any heads hanging in the locker room, are you?
We are not, honestly. Our kids have bought into the fact that we haven't played winning football, and we know that. We're learning from the film. We have a lot of young kids out there that we're playing right now. We've played good opponents. So all those things combined have led us to where we're at. And we know our program, nobody's going to feel sorry for us. Nobody is going to say, oh, man, you know, it's one of those years for Clyde. That doesn't happen for us. So our kids have bought into the fact that we're going to keep working. And, you know, at some point in time, it's going to pay off for us. I don't know if it's going to be a win or a loss, or a win at some point in time, but resiliency is going to pay off at some point in time, either making them better men or translating into some wins at some point in time.
Well, let's talk a little bit more about last week. And I was talking with Josh before the show started, and that quarterback for Ashland, his name's escaping me right now, but he was, 6'5", 240, and he wasn't as big of a mobile threat as I thought he would be, but there were some plays you just can't defend.
Yeah, and he was mobile enough to run it enough to keep you honest. You know, the thing that impressed me most about him, and you're talking about a Division I quarterback, and in today's world, they don't hand those things out.
Yeah.
You know, he put the ball on deep balls right where it needed to be. He had 3 balls that I thought were very impressive. The 2 in the first half for touchdowns. You hit a kid on stride 40 yards down the field with, I'm going to say, fairly decent coverage. I mean, we were there.
Oh, yes.
But you know, you just made a perfect. It was better offense, and you guys have all heard that before. Sometimes better offense just beats good defense, and that's what they did a little bit. But we were right there in the first half. I was upset with our first drive coming out of the second half. We put ourselves behind the sticks. We had a penalty. We had a fumbled snap, and you can't do that against a team like that. You're going to find yourself down 2 scores.
Yeah, and you know, I was getting to that. My point was going to be, there were a few throws where you just cannot. There was one place I was like, Clyde was in great position. They just can't defend that. It's just a great play.
Yeah.
That's a D1 quarterback play. So your guys, I hope they know that. I hope they know that. Like, I know when you give a big play, it's easy to put your head down and say, dang, you know, I messed up. But there were times where you just can't do anything about it. And I hope your kids are aware that, hey, that guy just made some D1 plays.
Yeah, and we're trying.
Yeah.
You know, we're trying to convince them of that sometimes you can be in the right spot, they just make a play on you, and you got to bounce back and try to go at it the next play. What we're trying to convince them of is going back the next week. You know, and this week does not get any easier for us. A very good St. Francis team.
Yeah.
It'll be difficult for us in the Glass Bowl, but I'm trying to convince our kids, just keep going forward, and eventually it's going to pay off for us.
Well, before we get into that Toledo St. Francis game, which I do want to talk about, You mentioned earlier about your young guys that you have out there. You got a lot of young guys out on the field, and I don't think there's ever a problem in playing young guys. I always say in basketball with these teams that are young, that just means in 2-3 years they're going to be really tough. I think it's the same for football, especially in football. Next year you guys could be super tough with all these young guys you have out there. But one guy that's really impressed Kyle and myself, off paper and when you watch him live, is Deacon Crockett. And Deacon, he's got blazing speed. And tell me how much he's developed in the past 4 weeks.
Well, he has. He's one of our guys that we really were counting on going into the season, but counting on a guy that hadn't played any varsity football yet is difficult.
Yeah.
And he's a track kid. He's a very fast kid, trying to learn that that in and out of being a receiver and a DB. He's playing both sides of the ball for us. He's returning kicks for us. He's out there 75-80% of the snaps on the night. And just a quality kid and doing everything we ask him to do. So we've been extremely pleased with him and a number of our younger kids that we're playing back there that are gaining valuable experience, making some mistakes as we go, but that's part of the learning process.
Yeah, it absolutely is. And, you expect it from young guys. You expect it from anybody in the first couple of weeks. And what have you seen develop so far in the first 4 weeks that you've liked? What have you seen come a long way that you wanted to see?
Honestly, I really like the fact that our kids are just buying in every week and going to work. We've had a couple of injuries to some key spots. Our big left tackle that we were counting on all year has been banged up for a couple of weeks. Cole Sinstock, who plays both sides of the ball in every special team for us, did not play last week against Ashland and only played about a quarter of the game against Start. So we've had some injuries, as everybody has as at this time of year. But the guys that have filled in for them are just giving us everything they have. And it's nice to see on a daily basis. You go out there to practice, the spirit is up, the kids are excited, and we're working at it, and we're gaining ground. I know. Traditional Clyde fans don't see that. They don't see the fact that we're gaining ground on it, and they're slow wins. Right now our wins are we've improved from week 1 to week 3. And that doesn't translate into a win, but we are improving. So we're going to keep going at it every week, and we're going to get it all the way to the end.
Talking with Coach Ryan Carter from Clyde, head coach. Coach Carter, let's talk about your matchup this week against St. Francis in Toledo. It's going to be at the Glass Bowl. First of all, how excited are your kids to play in a D1 stadium like the Glass Bowl? This isn't Fremont Ross or St. Ed's or, a big school where there's going to be some kids that play D1. I mean, this might be the only time that any of these kids play on a big field like this. Are they excited?
Yeah, they are. And I think you're exactly right. We don't have a tremendous amount of kids that go on to the next level from Clyde. We just have solid, very good high school football players. So for them to get to play in a stadium like this against a very good opponent is special for them. They get to see those big lights, and they get to see that big stadium. I think it's really cool, a cool experience for them.
Well, last year we covered the Clyde St. Francis game, and I'll tell you what, it was one for the ages. If you look up the score from last year, it doesn't look close, but it was tough. There was a controversial fourth down call.
Yeah, we had a first down on their sidelines that we didn't get, but that's okay.
We said it on the air too. We were like, man, he looked like he get that by 2-3 yards.
Yeah.
But this year, every year is different. And what do you guys think that you need to do to execute and keep yourselves in this game?
Well, honestly, the kid that really hurt us last year, their tailback, he's back.
Yeah.
And a dynamic player. They got a couple of other kids that they added this year from other people's rosters that they are they're talented, and they're big up front. They got a big Rutgers commit at offensive tackle. So they have some definite bodies that we're going to have to contend with. But I tell you what, we are going to go battle. We're going to try to put our kids in the best situation possible, and I know our kids are going to go give us everything we got.
Well, that's good to know, and it's good to have that in a team. And, Coach, one final question for you. Is the game plan to maybe control the clock a little bit more and give the ball to Adam Young a lot and keep, maybe have Jonathan on a couple design runs or Mason on some jet sweeps or any of that, or are you going to go through the air?
The game plan is to try to keep the ball as long as we possibly can and keep it out of their offense's hands. Now, with that said, they do a great job of playing man and jamming the box and bringing a bunch of pressure. So we've always been the type of team that takes what the defense gives us. If they're giving us something, we're going to take our shots with it. Now, whether it executes well or not, who knows? But if they back off, we're going to run the ball. If they come up tight, we're going to throw it. Whether it works or not, we'll see. But that's kind of what we're going to do.
All right, I know. The whole night I've been saying, hey, one last question for you, and
That's
then
okay.
I think of another one. And this, I promise you it's the last question, but we were talking about the running game, and that made me think of it. Adam Young, one thing that impresses me when I watch him play is not only his toughness, but his football IQ and then his ball carrier vision, his ability to see where his blocks are taking him, what holes are being opened up. And then Kyle likes this, and I do too, his ability to, when he does get stopped, he always falls forward. Talk about Adam and how good of a back he is just with that kind of stuff.
Man, he's been awesome for us. For 2 years now, he's been the mainstay of carrying the football for us. And, we've asked him to work on a number of different things. Throwing him the ball out of the backfield has been big for us this year. We're going to continue doing that. His blocking on pass protection has been huge and other run plays. But you're right. I mean, Adam really sees the field well. Does a great job of falling forward, getting us an extra 2 or 3 yards, and he's such a quality kid, fun kid to be around, and one of those kids that you're really pulling for on a week in, week out basis.
Well, we hope to see more of him in the future. I'm sure we will, and we wish you all the best of luck this Friday as you head to the Glass Bowl to take on St. Francis de Sales. Coach, good luck.
Thank you guys very much. You guys do a great job. We appreciate the coverage.
Hey, we appreciate you letting us cover you.
Yep, thanks a lot.
That was Coach Ryan Carter, head coach of the Clyde Flyers. They're going to take on St. Francis de Sales in Toledo at the Glass Bowl this Friday. Best of luck to them. Coming up after the break, we're going to talk with Chad Long about Little Giant football, what you've all been waiting for. Stick around and stay tuned here to Eagle 99 WFRO. This is the High School Football Eagle 99 Coaches Show live from Frickers in Fremont. We'll be right back. It is $9.99. Steak night, get a steak, side salad, drink, and dinner roll, all for $9.99. And, of course, kids always eat free. My name is Nick Roth. Joining me now to talk Ross football, head coach of the Little Giants, Chad Long. Chad, thank you so much for being with me here again tonight. And, your team went into Perrysburg fired up, ready to get that win, and then that didn't happen. But, you faced a tough team this past week in Perrysburg.
Perrysburg's always going to be tough. We knew that going in, but it was a winnable game if we showed up and played. I think our defense was on the field too long. and our offense didn't generate or move the ball enough to get any kind of consistency. And, just a momentum. We didn't have any momentum the entire game, and, that happens.
Well, you got your rushing game going a little bit at least with Talon Brown. You
Yeah.
had 75 yards on the ground. Your passing game seemed to do all right. You had about, well, maybe not. You had about
He's
38 passing yards in the air.
I think he was still 50%.
Yeah.
It seemed as though anytime we got a big play, it got called back.
Yeah.
And it's just, again, it comes down to momentum. We didn't have any momentum, and the one time we had a little bit of spark was when Steven Ryder took the bubble down the sideline, and then somehow there was a holding call. So, yep.
Well, not saying anything about that, but I will say you guys also had a lot of penalty trouble with Sandusky as well.
Yeah.
Do you think that's your guys not playing as disciplined as they should be, or do you think maybe it's just part of football?
I think it's part of football, but at the same token, just the little misplacement of their hand positioning, and it comes at a key point on the edge,
Yeah.
And, if we have our hands just a little bit outside, it's probably going to get caught. Sometimes it goes through with not getting caught.
But 9 times out of 10, that ref's
Yeah,
right there, and
yeah,
he sees you
oh,
on
yeah.
that seal block. Yeah, it's tough.
So
It is tough. But like I said, there were areas that you saw success on the ground. And
yeah, Talon Brown doing what Talon does. He finds a way, reading the holes and reading the defense, and nobody really understands how intelligent he is when running the football. Is that he scans the field, he knows the way in which they position, and he knows the blockers in front of him and where to cut.
Is he a film studier? Do you have that where you can see how
Yeah.
many hours he's
Yeah,
logged?
he watches film. All our kids watch film.
Well, yeah,
So
I'm
I mean
sure.
that's the great thing about it is a lot of kids watch it, but he has the ability, the toughness, just the athletic ability to take it to a whole nother level.
And, he's got the God-given vision and
Yeah.
toughness that you just can't coach. And
Yeah.
it's nice to have a guy like that. And I'm talking with head coach from Fremont Ross, Chad Long. Again, we're live on 99.1 FM. We're live on Eagle99WFROradio.com. And, of course, on YouTube. You can go to our Facebook, click the link, or you can just go to YouTube, search Eagle99. We'll pop right up, and you get to join us talking Ross football. And as we said, against Perrysburg, they weren't able to have the same level of success as they were their first couple of weeks. And, boy, you guys don't get a week off, do you? It's never a cupcake schedule. You got Toledo-Whitmer coming up this week. What do you guys got to do to get a win?
Well, this, unfortunately, being in the conference, it's built in crossover games, and we play the big division, the 3 big in the big division, and it's tough. It's you're at the point of, all right, we're playing schools 2-3 times bigger than us, but let's come out of this healthy. Let's take some positives and so forth. And we know it's a grind. In order to beat Whitmer, I mean, it's going to happen up front. They're going to average about 300 on the offensive line. They're huge.
Yeah, they're always huge.
And they pull 2-3 guys, and they got 2 really good running backs. Their starting quarterback got hurt in the Detroit game and hasn't been back on the field, and I heard it was pretty serious. So they've been playing with a backup who's still good.
Yeah.
And Whitmer always has athletes. We got to be able to stop the screens, the slips, and all that stuff on their offense. Being our defense, we have to do that. And on the offensive side, we really got to do is just give what the defense, gives us, and we got to be patient. Be patient, run the ball, throw the ball, and just throw it to the underneath guys is what we have to do, and just be patient until things open up.
Kind of dink and dunk it down the field, maybe try to control the clock. Are you seeing anything in film that they might give you on defense that you think you can exploit?
Yes, they're blitzing. They love the blitz.
Yeah.
That's Whitmer football. They're always going to bring guys from all over the place, and I feel that our offensive staff, we have a good game plan going in and how to exploit them if they get overly aggressive, and I think we'll do that.
So maybe a lot of screens called this week, defend against the blitz. And
Yeah.
they over pursue. You got some open
You
field
can't give
there?
out the game plan.
No.
Completely,
I'm
but,
not.
But yes, it's we definitely have things set up for.
My apologies.
No,
Didn't mean to-
you're good. You're good. But any normal coach would say, yeah, if you're an over-aggressive team, it's easy to screen them.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Well, talking with head coach Chad Long of Fremont Ross Little Giants about their Whitmer game this week, and as you said, Whitmer very talented. You watch some Ohio State games, you see a lot of Whitmer kids. You watch Bowling Green and Toledo. There was
Michigan.
basically Whitmer University there, Michigan, and
yeah.
I mean all those guys. I mean they're always big, and do they recruit? Do you know? Are we allowed to say that if they
No
recruit
comment.
No comment on that one.
I
I didn't know.
I can say this. The basketball coach, Anthony Stacy, who's a BG alum, is no longer the basketball coach, so you may see some moving around
I see.
of people. But no, he actually is assistant coach at Bowling Green. He went
Wow.
back to be an assistant coach at Bowling
Oh,
Green.
very nice under Todd Simon.
So there could be some moving around and things like that. So, but no comment on recruiting things.
I apologize. Didn't mean to bring up anything taboo over the air.
No.
Please don't find me.
Well,
Talking.
I'll be honest though. At the same token, if you're in Toledo City area, you're gonna go to Whitmer.
Yeah.
You have the best opportunity
Yeah.
to go there.
that-
so
yeah.
I mean,
you're not going to Scott or Start. You're going to Whitmer.
or Toledo Wade or any of those. No.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. You're absolutely right on that. And
So that's the other advantage they get.
so defensively, what do you think you guys got to do to stop this talented St. Francis? I'm sorry.
So
The Whitmer
it's all right.
offense.
Whitmer offense is we'll use our speed up front with the D line because, like I said, they're going to average about 300 on the offensive line. It's crucial that our linebackers read the poles, and so because they don't false key pole,
Yeah.
and we got to find the running backs. They have two really good running backs, and they hide behind their linemen, and then next thing you know, boom, gone.
Yeah.
So
And
they're
it's-
hard runners, they're good runners, and we're going to have this will be the toughest challenge yet, I think, for our defense is playing against Whitmer's offense.
Well, a guy on defense that I want to talk about that you talked about last week, and he seems like the man out there. He had 2 tackles last game, and I think he had a sack as well. It's Cole Myers,
Cole, big Cole.
big Cole Myers.
Yeah.
How key? How big of a key is he going to be this week?
Cole's going to be a big part of the defense and not giving ground. Cole's a big boy himself. He's up for the challenge go against again some more big boys that he's going to see. He's pound for pound one of our best guys, and I say pound for pound. He's 350 pounds. Himself, 6'4", plays both ways. If I'm his parents, I'd be extremely proud of him because he's tough. He's as tough as it comes. I compare him a lot to Ethan Green, who played both ways. That's how much I believe and how valuable Cole Myers is to our football team, being on both sides of the ball.
Well, Coach, we talked last week about your guys in the locker room and how they've been so willing to bring it all together, and this is the best locker room at least that you've had in a long time, if ever.
Yeah.
I don't mean to be a Debbie Downer here, but it's easy to do that when you win. It's easy to come together.
For sure.
How was the body language and how was the locker room after this past week? Was there anything that concerned you, or did it seem good?
No, I mean, the kids, they just want to win.
Yeah.
Bottom line, they want to win. But in the past years, this would be the most devastating thing, and then you see them kind of going other way. These guys are still staying the course. We had a really good Monday, Tuesday practice, and, I think they're up for the task of trying to be another giant out of Whitmer.
Yeah.
And, they're not going to back down. They didn't back down against Perrysburg. I just believe our defense was put in bad situations because our offense couldn't move the ball.
Yeah.
And, kids still believe, they're going to still fight. What's the worst thing? We lose, right?
Yeah.
We can still be 8-2.
That's exactly right.
And if we win and upset, we're 9-1. We
Yeah.
could be 9-1.
Yeah.
So we're not going to dwell on the loss against Perrysburg. We're going to continue moving forward, getting better each week, correcting a lot of things that we have done, and the wrong. And that's the great thing about film. And we're going to continue winning games down the road here. So
I guess I should have rephrased my question because you kind of answered it. My question was really meant to be a lot of times after a loss like this, you can see dejected locker room, and then on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, you see a team with their head down on the
Yeah.
practice field. And I'm sure you've seen it before in years
Yep.
past.
years in the past, yes.
And, as you alluded to this year, that you have good practices, and it seems like the kids are putting this one behind them to focus on.
Yeah, we got great leaders, seniors, juniors, sophomores, great leaders. We all believe in each other. Coaches believe in each other. Players believe in the coaches. The players believe in the players. And, it's just a great brotherhood that we have created this year that we've never had in the past. And hopefully it continues and we all stay the same course and, we win a bunch of football games.
All right, thank you to head coach Chad Long of the Fremont Ross Little Giants and joining me here tonight. Good luck this week against Whitmer. One last question for you, Coach.
Yeah.
And I think I know what you're going to tell me, but I also know the real answer, okay? You're going to tell me you're focused on Whitmer one game at a time, but those hated rivals in Findlay are next week. You got a little bit in the back of your mind for Findlay right now?
No. I'm totally honest. I swear to you, you can ask anyone that knows me. I focus on only the team we're playing that week. I don't watch film. Now, my brother and everyone else, they're watching film.
Yeah.
And but no, I honestly only focus on the game that we have and our opponent who we have on Friday. I never look ahead.
Well, good. That's good because it gives us a reason for people to tune into our show next week when Kyle talks to you about the Findlay game. Thank you again so much, Coach Chad Long from
Appreciate
Ross.
it.
And we talked Little Giant football. Appreciate everyone that stopped by tonight. Coach Shane Dyer from Gibsonburg and his players. Of course, let me get that list of their names. I can't remember everything, guys. We had Chuy Rodriguez. We had Grant Smith. We had Aiden Sims. And my goodness, I'm not leaving one guy out. Hold on, guys. I apologize. I'm getting it. And Reese Walby, of course. My apologies. Thank you to all those guys for stopping by. They were fantastic tonight. And thank you again to Coach Chad Long and Coach Ryan Lozier and Ryan Carter of Lakota and Clyde for joining me here this evening. My name is Nick Roth. This has been the Eagle 99 High School Football Coaches Show live from the Fremont Frickers. Make sure you get on down here, get that $9.99 steak dinner, get a steak, dinner, roll, side salad, and drink, all for $9.99, and you still got plenty of time to get it. And then Kyle Knight's going to have you next week, so until then, stick around and stay tuned to all the hits all the time. Eagle 99 WFRO. Good night, everybody.